So Lou, this is it, boy. Doesn't get better than this. So like, okay. Okay, so we've got, I'm sorry? Right now. Oh, September.
So everything that I have, we can carry after the storm.
She's asking when she can add discussion items.
Yeah. In the next regular meeting, this was a special meeting, so we don't have like we don't have all the regular things. We have public forum and what have you. So yeah, so if you look at the next, it's on the website. You know, the next meeting will be on the website. You'll see it. We don't usually have a meeting in August. Okay.
I'll call you.
Okay, good, no problem. Okay, we've got a meeting that was going to start at 6:15, so not bad. This is probably the tardiest we've ever been. So we're going to call the special city commission meeting to order. Mauricio, take the roll, please.
Commissioner Goldman,
Yes, here.
Commissioner Lama,
Here.
Commissioner Vizcarra, Vice Mayor Svechin,
Here.
Mayor Scholl,
Here.
all members present.
Thank you. We already did the pledge tonight, so I'm gonna spare the pledge. So we've got item. Shh, please. Close the back door, please, if it's open. Thank you. We've got item 3A, which is our ordinance for first reading. Mauricio.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, establishing a 12-month moratorium on the submission and consideration of zoning applications in the Town Center District with certain exceptions, providing for a 12-month moratorium on the issuance of development orders and development permits as defined by Section 163.3164 of the Florida statutes in the Town Center zoning district with certain exceptions, providing for waivers, providing for procedures for vested rights and judicial review, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing for an effective date.
Okay, Chris, do you want to? So who's going to open?
Yeah, I'm not going to repeat the
I don't think
whole
we've got to beat it to
thing
death.
again. So this is the city proposing to adopt a 12-month moratorium in the
Speak
Town
up.
Center District.
Okay, so basically what we just went through was the local planning agency adopted a recommendation, which was us, adopted a recommendation to ourselves to adopt this ordinance on first reading. Is there any public speakers for item 3A of the commission meeting?
Yes, there is. Courtney Crush.
Courtney.
Mayor, Commissioners, as I indicated, if the commission is going to adopt a moratorium, I strongly support it. If it included direction to do a couple things, as I referred to, that were going to be discussed as part of the resolution you just considered, therefore, I would strongly recommend the commission consider as part of the ordinance before you on the moratorium, including the directive to the city manager or designee to work on a plan of action to remedy the problems with the existing buildings located on the south side of Sunny Isles Boulevard, and to also direct that the city manager work on an action plan to bring the town center zoning district into compliance with the comprehensive plan. Certainly that language is in sections 2 and 3 of Commissioner Goldman's ordinance. I think in terms of giving some meat or direction as part of the moratorium.
Yeah, that is the point.
Certainly, I think between first and second reading, would very much appreciate adding those sections to your ordinance.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've got no issue with that.
Time
So
out.
Ed,
Hey,
go ahead.
Ms. Crush, can I ask you a couple of questions? If we do that,
regarding this?
yes.
Yes.
If we do this, of course. If we do this, will that change the title? If we do what you suggest, will that change the title of the ordinance?
Let me reread your title.
Well, it doesn't have anything in there about directing anybody to do anything.
Well, it doesn't have
So the title would have to change, right?
directing.
Establishing in 12 months.
No, I understand,
Yeah.
but there are also waivers and exemptions and No,
The question is, does it-
No, I understand.
Would the title have to change? And if so, what steps would we have to take to validly approve this in September?
to the extent vested rights. Not sure your title has to change, Mr. Dan. I'm not sure
Didn't you,
I'd like to-
didn't you just ask for a section in this ordinance to direct the city manager to take certain actions?
I did reference a language from a prior section. I was not candidly suggesting that it be a specific quote-unquote section versus a whereas. I was suggesting, given the conversation I've heard from the commission and some of the feedback given and consistent with my comments under the local planning agency hearing on the moratorium, that yes, that giving direction to staff to work on an action plan and to work on a plan to make the zoning consistent with the comprehensive plan was a good idea. I referred to formerly stated, or I guess stated sections in the draft document, and you did not move forward. I wasn't suggesting.
Courtney, I think it's self-evident. That's all we've been talking about.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
that's
that's
the
what I
whole
mean.
point of the
Those are
moratorium is to
well, those are-
basically move forward on this stuff.
Isn't that the purpose
Yeah.
of the moratorium?
And I think it'd be wonderful
Yeah.
if the purpose of the
Moratorium.
moratorium were called out, and you have some great language that was authored, and you all seem to have consensus on.
Yeah.
So whether, Mr. City Attorney, or Mr. Mayor, I apologize that this is in a whereas clause, I think that would be very well received
Okay.
by my client.
Ed, can we look at it between first and second reading for the modification
of
to make
course.
sure it doesn't materially change the ordinance, that the first reading doesn't get invalidated? I
Of
guess
course
that's-
we can.
Thank you. Thank you, Courtney.
I just
Okay.
needed
I
clarification.
understand. Perfect. Anybody else for 3A, Mauricio?
We can't move to adopt that, to incorporate that language?
No.
Because
No,
I
we're not-
would
we're not gonna
approve
move it
it
here.
if that were
Thank
the
you.
case. but-
Mauricio?
Greg Grossman?
Can we,
Greg?
can I put a motion? Can I
Hold on,
put a
we're-
motion
we're-
out?
We're
Or
in
no?
public comment, Kadena.
Okay,
Okay, we're in public comment.
all right.
Again, to save time, I'd like to incorporate my comments from the first meeting of tonight. The comprehensive plan is the law. I'm at a loss why you guys can't stand up and say, we need to follow the law and make the zoning match the plan. Enough's enough. Do the right thing, follow the law.
Thank you, Greg. Mauricio, anybody else on 3A?
Cecilia Ward?
Good?
Norman?
Norman? You good? One more time? One more time. All right, why not? Why not? You're staying for the second, you're staying for the second viewing, so.
Certainly, I haven't changed my position. I still think that this commission is not doing what it could do. And what it could do is solve this problem very quickly. It's as simple as ABC. Admit that the comprehensive plan is the law of the land. B, bring the code in conformance. And C, find a way of taking care of the existing buildings using TDRs or any other approach, but do that immediately because everyone has spoken here tonight. There's a hurricane right around our corner. There are people that are going to be injured if their apartments are unable to be rebuilt. And to take a year to fool around and create more smoke screens is just ridiculous. Now is the time to act, and now is the time to solve that particular problem. You want to talk about a moratorium for what you want to build on the west side? You got plenty of time to do that, but there are people living in 6 buildings that need to have an answer tonight. And every night that you postpone that, you're playing with their lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Norman. 3A, Mauricio?
Felix Kisner?
Felix?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mayor, members of the commission. My name is Felix Kisner. I live at 251 74th Street. I'm also a board member of Winston Towers 100. And I just say, wow, there must be really big money at stake here. The battle has heated up beyond what I expected. And the reason I'm saying it is we're all looking backwards in the window what was done. I think we need to look forwards and a sense of urgency everyone understands. Basically what I see, what separates and what unites every one of you here. What unites every one of you here is a sense of urgency, and you make a decision. And then what separates all of you? It's the density and intensity. And there's that difference between carpet bombing it. I mean, a year, it seems like we're looking for weapons of mass destruction to somehow either justify what we're about to do or not justify what we're about to do. A year is way too long unless it's a moratorium that's there forever, that's it forever, not just the 12 months, or you can do more of a surgical work here, not carpet bomb, and then have the consequences. I mean, whoever guarantees that Renan or his son is not going to sell the property. You've been on the Russian television show that I've watched, I had to translate, where you said, infinity problem, no problem. You spoke for Renan saying, Renan's never going to sell those properties. We can't guarantee that. So looking forward, first we'll have a surgical approach, and I think, Dana, you went surgically in there, whereas a decision of just with one swipe of pen, approve everything density and intensity, we're not looking far ahead, and we have no guarantees what's going to be in the owners of these properties in the future, in his head and his plans. So please, look forward. I think there's a lot of things you can come together on, and I think people have spoken. I'm not going to waste any more of your time. This is very intensive and actually an interesting conversation. Everyone is right in their own ways. But at the end of the day, the people are going to pay the price. Thank you.
Thanks,
Felix, hold on. I just wanted to comment something. So you said 12 months. We could lift that that moratorium if we do come up with a solution beforehand. And in the slides that Claudia presented, it stated that. So obviously, it'll have to come back to the commission, and once we find a solution to this, then we lift it. So, you know, just so you know, there's a sense of we could lift it or we could extend it, depending.
Okay, so
The irony of it is we got criticized when we first put it out there
Okay.
when it was flexible.
But
and so
what
we locked it
concerned
in
me
12
is-
months to
is-
basically, overcome the criticism. So,
An
yeah.
expert just told me it's true. Moratoriums are made on those properties. They're usually instituted by the cities to stop something bad.
This is a peculiar problem, given that these buildings were built. So this is a peculiar problem. But in any case, I don't disagree with what anybody said. But the fact is, we put the moratorium out 12 months because we got criticized for it being flexible. Because exactly what Alex said, we said, okay, something could happen. But the first wave of issues, from these folks was that well, you could lift it in a month. It's not true, because if we have to do a comp plan amendment, which we believe we're going to have to do, it has to go to the state. We got to wait for the state to opine, and then the state comes back, and then we have a second reading after the state opines on it. So there's timing issues here associated with not wanting another developer to come in, or somebody that sees where we're going, like the letter that the city attorney got, and wants to basically run the rights up the flagpole quickly.
So
And
what I
that's
heard
the
you
issue.
say is that the moratorium actually puts more time and burdens on you guys, the state, and the people that are living there. You're saying it's going to take time, decisions, and everything else, right?
But no, what I'm saying is that it serves all masters here, because we could lift it if we wanted to in the future if we felt like we got the problem resolved. We could let it run a year. If it ran over for some reason, we could go further, as to the other woman spoke to. But the point is, believe me, our first order priority is to get something passed for those buildings and get it in the hopper, because those buildings are not a quick fix. We can't do it by resolution, okay? As much as people are saying we can, we can't. And so, but we need to, but we basically, need to be able to do that and study the issue and deal with it. So that's really what we're saying.
But you agree on the more surgical and
No, I agree.
or just
No, I don't
one pen
disagree.
stroke?
I don't
Let's
disagree.
increase it and
Yeah,
put everyone
and I think
legal.
Dana made a valiant approach. I just don't agree with, I feel like it came in quick, and I only got it a day ago, and the fact is, the city attorney couldn't opine on it, and
So how many days do you guys need to look at her?
Well, I'd
I mean,
like to
the city attorney's got to, hold on.
take the bad medicine.
You'll get your turn. So sorry,
Take
but
the bad medicine.
So, yeah, but the fact is
Famous
that
words.
we're going to look at it along with a lot of other proposals, because she's not the only one. So that's the story. But I don't disagree with your surgical approach. I think I think that's good tactical language. So thank you, Felix.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else for 3A?
Yes, Carla Mast.
Carla. My island neighbor. So.
Yes, Carla Mast. I live at 310 Poinciana Island. I've lived in Sunny Isles Beach since 1998, the year after we incorporated. And I support the moratorium because I think this is a good time for us to hit the pause button, and we need to do the right thing here. We don't need to have a knee-jerk reaction. I mean, I think it's great that Dana suggests this resolution, but it doesn't really solve the problem of the 6 buildings. And I am not in one of those 6 buildings, but I feel really badly that those people are in the situation that they're in. So, we need to find a compromise. I'm a big person on compromise. We have to satisfy the law. We have to satisfy or not alienate our property owners, our developers, and we need to help these residents that are sitting in buildings that are now going to be out of compliance. So I just hope that we can move this forward very quickly. I hope that we don't say that because it's a 12-month moratorium, we're going to take a year to fix this problem.
No.
I think we need to fix it soon. And I like the idea that you guys were throwing around of, hey, let's have a meeting in 2 weeks. Whatever we have to do, bring in the experts from Fort Myers or wherever, because this is a complex issue that not very many cities have to deal with. So you guys don't have an easy job. I applaud every one of you sitting up here because it's a tough job. And
Thank
I
you.
admire all of you. Thank you.
Carla. Mauricio, anybody else for 3A?
Fabiola Stuyvesant.
Fabiola.
Hello, everybody. Fabiola Stuyvesant, 326 Poinciana Drive. I want to thank you guys for listening to us in the previous committee, special commissioning meeting. I asked you guys to defer that vote because a lot of people came, we didn't understand what was going on, and we still need more clarity. It's very smart of all of you not to be premature and taking like a fast resolution or solution or whatever, because we still need to understand. One word that caught our attention, or at least my attention, is the waiver word. So please explain a little bit more in the future what if they had limits, because we don't, like people say, thank you, Alex, for saying that you are not going to trick us. We don't want to be tricked. So that word, it sounds a little bit creepy. And but thank you for the moratorium. I support it. We need time, we need information, we need transparency and clarity. And I appreciate the work that you guys do. It's very, very hard. And we all can have a break from the construction everywhere in Sunny Isles, in the east, in the west, everywhere. And saying that, I also want to put in the record, because I promised I was going to talk about it, which I know we are not going to discuss, about, we are building, which I found out today, 3 new more classrooms in the school. Yes, no, I'm not going to talk, but I promise the moms. Okay. And for the next meeting, please put in the agenda to talk about the school,
okay,
intensity in the school, and the park enclosure. Okay. Closure.
Do me a favor, just either contact the manager and just tell him what you want to talk about.
We said we're going to talk.
And we'll put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
And we'll put it on the agenda.
I would like to talk to you. I know that you told me you won't be here, so if you can call me tomorrow, we talk about it. So I give you my point of view. Okay.
Deal.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you. Mauricio.
That's it, Mayor.
That's it? Okay. Public hearing is closed. I'll start on this end again. Alex, you want to go?
I'm good.
Okay. Dana, you want to go?
I would support what Courtney, it basically memorializes what I've articulated, which is we agree to solve these problems, and it basically incorporates, my perspective and my philosophy about, let's not just impose a moratorium with a wide body, waiver provision, but let's address the problem head on. And of course, I'm very much in favor of calling a meeting in 2 weeks from now to really, hone in on, fixing the zoning code to match the comprehensive plan. So I don't know, I'd like to be able to move, if there's, can you tell me procedurally how to do that?
I don't even know.
Is there a motion? Can I?
No, there's not a motion yet. All we're having is discussion now.
A discussion to incorporate those provisions into the moratorium?
Yeah, and again, to be clear, I think we're all on the same page as far as moving the provisions along. So just to be clear, but when we make the motion, I think you can frame it with the city attorney. So
okay. Well,
okay.
Ed.
We hadn't made the motion yet.
Okay.
Okay. Larissa.
I wish everyone stayed for this as well, but I every time we meet, we get closer, which is good. this is what we should be doing. And I wish that everybody would come at every single meeting. When I was first elected, one of the very first things I said to our then city manager, who is here, was, city attorney, sorry, I apologize. I said, whenever I've come to a commission meeting, I don't know what is going on. All the jargon that is used, everything moves so quickly. Can we find a way to let people understand, like Fabiola is saying, what some of these words mean? So that's why I painfully sometimes ask for clarification. And I think that that is something that we should all be working on. The transparency is not just about telling you and reading to you, but really making it so that you understand. When I went outside, someone said to me, I still have a hard time understanding this. So it's our job to make it easier for residents to be included. And that is why I feel so strongly about this moratorium, because it includes everyone. I know I said this already, but I just want to reiterate how important it is for us to make, not just this, every meeting very clear to our residents.
Thank you. Jennifer?
I really don't have much else to say other than I think in the future, we can't I don't feel we can have a conversation about the zoning code without the comprehensive plan or the other way around. The two go together. So I think ultimately, whatever solution we come to and agree on, we'll have to deal with both pieces. I don't think it's the best approach to just be looking at one part or the other. So I look forward to, in the period of the moratorium, coming up with a solution that addresses both parts.
Great. Okay. I don't have a problem between this and the next reading, putting some teeth in the, in whatever we want to call the moratorium, because frankly, that's why we're here. We're here to basically deal with these two issues. So I don't really have any, I don't know whether it's an add-on tonight or whatever, but the fact is, I think that I think the staff knows, and I think we all certainly know that there's a sense of urgency. And I've been saying it publicly as often as I can say it, and I keep getting hit over the head with infinity. But the fact is that, the issue is with the prior approvals, and we got to deal with that quickly. And frankly, in the last meeting, just to be clear, the approach might have been wrong, but we were dealing with the prior approvals in that meeting. If we would have passed that would have set the wheels in motion. That's really why I said during the meeting, can we just pass this, get the wheels in motion, it goes to the state, and we start dealing with all this stuff. But what happened was, it was a one-size-fits-all, and that's really that was the debate over this whole issue, was that dealing with the prior approvals, the way we're going to deal with it was giving everybody the same zoning as the same intensity as the prior approval. So we scrapped it. I get that, but now we got to deal with the prior approvals, because frankly, that was my sense of urgency in the last meeting. But that meeting was so heated and so misunderstood and so overwhelming that we all just decided to punt, which not a bad thing. And we don't usually have a meeting in August, so just to be clear, this is a special meeting because we have a sense of urgency. So again, nobody says we don't have a sense of urgency, but at the same time, I'm just not willing to wing it. I'm not willing to, vote on something that I'm not particularly clear on. The city attorney, hasn't passed for legal sufficiency. I'm not willing to wing it. I'm willing to look at anything that's reasonable. So, Dana, to your point, and Courtney, I'm definitely willing to say that direct staff to work on this as expeditiously as possible, because we're doing it anyway. So, with that, I'll take a motion for item 3A, which we have a recommendation from the LPA to establish a 12-month moratorium. I'd like a motion for first reading.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Mauricio, it's an ordinance, voice vote.
What?
I'm sorry, Ed?
Before you vote, can I ask for some clarity in what specifically you want to add to this between now and second reading?
I mean, I'm hearing
That's
basically
really
just
my point. I mean,
Yeah,
I would only endorse, this moratorium, which I'm against, as everybody knows, if in fact it wasn't just, there was some direction that we would do in due haste to move to address these problems, which was all the intent of the resolution in the first place.
But that's the whole point of the moratorium in the first place.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
Not
is.
the
Of
way
course it
the
is.
moratorium is drafted. I staunchly disagree. The way
Okay.
this moratorium was drafted was nothing. It's like, let's hit
Okay.
pause, let's
Okay, but
think.
right
I
now,
don't
I'm sorry,
believe
Dana.
that.
So
I
we have a
just
motion and a
disagree.
second on the moratorium. We will
With or
speak to you.
without this, what is it, sections 2
No,
and 3?
no,
or
no, what I said is we'll address it between first and second reading, so we're not going to debate it tonight. So, Ed,
I'm sorry, wait, go ahead.
I mean, Ed, if we can tack on language tonight that simply says, we're directing staff to address to address the two issues at hand, which is the prior approvals and the and the reconciliation of our plan and of our comp plan and zoning code. I mean, is that?
Can we adopt these, section 2 and section 3?
No, I don't want to
No.
adopt something that really hasn't been approved for legal sufficiency. I don't want to adopt something that hasn't been approved for legal sufficiency. I'm sorry. But I'm
Can we
willing.
just say for the
I'm
record that we
indulging
agree?
you.
I got it.
I'm trying to indulge you on something here, and I'm trying to be reasonable. So, Ed, are we better off waiting between first and second reading and cleaning this up, or can we do it now? It's up to you.
We can do it between first and second reading as long as we don't change the title of the ordinance.
Okay.
But we can
Okay.
include that.
But we can include stuff in the whereas clauses if that's what
Okay.
you'd like.
Okay,
You
so
know,
let's-
whereas,
let's do that.
for
Let's do-
example,
right.
whereas the city commission, is,
The city commission is directing the staff to
When-
expeditiously
The city
proceed
commission
and-
expects the
Yeah, I
staff
understand. Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
that. And secondly, that the city commission understands the urgency of the situation
Correct.
and will move expeditiously.
Good. I think that's really what we're all saying.
Is that what you're asking
We're all
for?
saying the same
Move
thing.
expeditiously to address go ahead, Courtney.
but I think
To
we're-
address the zoning, because I don't.
But let's be clear.
Let's be a little clear on this.
We're going to do it between first and second reading. We don't need to hash it out now.
No,
We don't need to hash it
It's-
out now.
We can hash it.
We don't need
Courtney?
to, Dana, it's not necessary. He just said it's not
Mayor,
necessary.
point of order, please, because I don't want to go through this all over again. So if we have decided that we can hash it out and we're all in agreement and we're on the record,
Right.
I am requesting that we
Okay.
vote on it.
So I have a motion and I have a second on the ordinance as it's presented. Mauricio?
Commissioner Goldman,
With that condition, yes.
Is that a vote?
If you do it,
Okay.
approve with the conditions.
So what if we don't approve the condition?
Then I
Well-
don't support
We're going to
it.
approve
I
the
mean,
condition.
Well, that's why we have a
Well-
second reading. We have a second reading.
But I mean, I'm not,
Then-
no, I'm not that.
You get
sensitive.
the vote against it on second reading.
What?
You get the vote against
That's
it on
true.
second
That's true.
reading if
Yeah,
we don't
okay.
incorporate what
So-
you want.
So yes or no? So.
I'm not in favor of this.
Okay, that's a no. Mauricio?
Commissioner Lama? Yes. Vice Mayor Svetchin,
Yes.
Commissioner Viscara,
Yes.
Mayor Scholl.
Yes.
The ordinance passes on first reading 4-1. Second reading will be September 19th.
Okay, move on to item 4A.
A resolution declaring zoning in progress relating to the development and redevelopment in the Town Center zoning district, determining that applications for development orders and development permits shall be subject to the zoning in progress, authorizing the city manager to do all things necessary to effectuate this resolution, providing for an effective date.
Okay, Chris, you want to, I think we beat it to
Yep.
death too. Go
The
ahead.
city's proposing to declare a zoning in progress.
Okay, do I hear any discussion from the dais? Oh, I'm sorry, I got to open the public hearing. Item 4A, is there anybody to speak on item 4A?
Yes, Courtney Crush.
Courtney, boy, you're earning your keep tonight.
Briefly, Mayor. Again, I assume, thank you for clarifying the last time about the didn't impact additional city actions or ordinances. I assume the intention of this is to address the zoning code. It didn't quite expressly say that. Is that to move towards consistency with the comprehensive plan, or is it
Well,
unknown?
That's the ultimate goal, but it's not a zoning
Okay.
in progress
I
resolution.
I was trying to clarify that it was the goal. And I guess in the future, I'll ask about, I assume that's what the consultant that the mayor mentioned earlier has been engaged to work on that you had mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, Mayor?
Yeah, the staff actually hired the consultant, and they're doing they're doing a full review. That's
Okay.
that's what the consultant's doing.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. And I think you indicated the zoning in progress applies to any new applications,
Right.
any applications to the extent there are any pending, because we hadn't
Correct.
concluded that there were any pending either on
Correct.
either the Deezer site or the Infinity site.
So, to the best of our knowledge,
Yeah.
nothing will get through. So basically, there's nothing pending, and there's
Okay.
nothing happening.
Thank you
So,
very much
yeah.
for your indulgence.
Thank you, Courtney. Anybody else for A?
Yes, Mayor. Greg Grossman.
Greg?
Just incorporate prior statement.
Got it. Thank you, Greg. Norman, you're going for 3? No? So, 4? 4, sorry.
Felix Kisner.
Felix, Felix is going for 2. Okay.
Small question to you guys. If you, again, Felix Kisner, 251 74th Street, Sunny Isles Beach, Florida. If there's a way for you to solve the existing problems that, my question is interesting. If not Renan Katz, we would never find out about this whole thing. So capitalism works again, money works, and when there's interests involved, we get involved. We get to find out about it. So I'm sure sunshine is the best transparency and the best cure. So if you solve a problem, like Dana's got a plan, if you solve a problem with existing properties, can you promise that you will not upzone or increase the density or intensity of everything that's left there, or not?
Yeah, well, that's actually, that was what the whole debate was over, to be honest with you. So what happened was, the original proposal was simply that we're going to just give everything the level of the mistake zone, intensity. Let's say if it's a 3 or a 4, that we're going to give everything the 4 because it was interpreted that way anyway over the years, and that would have gotten it to the state and gotten the changes and gotten the folks that are in the buildings that are non-conforming now, basically in the hopper. That got interpreted as upzoning. You could argue it was upzoning at some level. It wasn't the intent. I can promise you, that wasn't the intent. The intent was that was the fix for the problem for the 6 buildings, and it had a halo effect on these other properties. So this is really what happened. So that obviously got scrapped at the last meeting. Okay, no question. That got scrapped. And so now what's probably going to have to happen is we're going to have to split this town center, this town center. And we're going to have a fix for one section, and probably leave the other section alone. And that's what Dana's saying is pass the other section being left alone tonight. Okay? What we're saying is we're not sure that her language is appropriate, okay? For a variety of reasons. It doesn't matter because we got all kinds of experts saying all kinds of things tonight. So, but really, I can tell you my personal priority is to get the fix for the 6 buildings in place as quickly as possible. My priority is not this other issue. This other issue is going to come out in the wash as we go through this. But at the same time, if there were buildings, we could end up downzoning that area. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, and if there's buildings, if there's developers that are in the hopper, okay, that are saying, wow, if they downzone, I'm getting in there next month. And that was really the intent of that letter, okay? So the moratorium stops anybody from being able to submit a site plan while we're sorting this out.
So my
That's
question's
it.
back. Why do you need a moratorium on the entire area? Can't you just address that?
No, you really can't do it because you can't bifurcate it. Because right now it's a zone, we're putting the moratorium on the zone. You really can't bifurcate it and say it's just for this small area. But the fact is that, again, that area, it's the developer rushing to get a site plan in before we make a change that's the concern, okay? And so that's really, again, all this stuff, a lot of it's hypothetical, but a lot of it's reality because we have big moneyed interests in this city, okay? The developer that wrote that letter is a billionaire. Renan Katz is a billionaire, okay? The owner of that property on the corner is a billionaire.
Big
okay?
money.
These guys can throw tremendous resources at these things very quickly if they want to, okay? Norman and I have dealt with this for years. I mean, Norman knows. I mean, so it's tricky in this city because we've got huge moneyed interests, and frankly, that's what Renan did. Renan said, I don't want that building next door. I'm going to shine a big light on this thing, and I'm going to pay all these experts, okay, to basically find something that's wrong. And he hit gold, to his credit. So I think he did us a big favor. I honestly do, because we would have went along with the interpretation that, Norman went along with, we all went along with. We didn't know. I mean, we thought that this stuff was getting interpreted right. Here's the irony of it is, not only did our own city folks over the last 15 years miss the interpretation, so did every other zoning lawyer in Miami. All these high-priced lawyers that all these guys hire, they all missed it. I'll go right down the line. Hans knows all the usual suspects here. So they all missed it. Everybody missed it. So, ironically, until this big light was shined on this particular issue, that's what happened. So again, all we're trying to do is slow it down, stay anybody else walking in the door and saying, we're going to fix it. So the intent is to fix it, plain and
So
simple.
does the moratorium have potential side effect of allowing Infinity project to go through?
No.
No.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point. What they're trying to do, honestly, if we did what they did, the Infinity could come back in, rejigger itself to meet the new, Cecilia knows, I mean, it could rejigger itself to meet these new qualifications and reapply, in a month.
Are you in negotiations with Infinity right now?
No, I haven't talked to Infinity. Again, this is the irony of all the misinformation. I haven't talked to them they got caught in the crossfire here, and it is what it is. I mean, frankly, none of us wants to see overdevelopment, but we have constraints as a city on what people's rights are. That's really what a lot of the issue's about as well. So, maligning me over Infinity was a mechanism to basically get the public riled up to try to nail this whole thing. So I get that. That's the politics of it. When I talked about the politicization of all this, it's funny. Back in Norman's and mine's days, we didn't really do that to each other. It didn't work that way. We argued. God knows we argued. But Lou's sitting there too. I mean, but we argued. But the fact is, we didn't insult people personally, publicly, and do all the things that have been going on here. But it comes with the territory. I mean, what are we going to do? But the fact is, in that whole process, we've really confused the issue. Because it's just not. It really hasn't been about that project as much as everybody wants to say it is. So it's about getting the six buildings fixed. So the moratorium stops
Has
it all.
to be applied full?
Stops it all.
But has to be applied
Yeah.
on the entire, it
Yeah.
cannot take the zoning?
It's not the entire
impossible.
west side though, but just to be clear, it's 174th, is it 174th Street South? 172nd to Sunny Isles Boulevard. Yeah, so it's not, it's in the town center district, because that's what we're dealing with here. The issue is in the town center district. That's where the mistakes were made. So,
Just
you got it.
asking a question.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
good question, and I appreciate the clarity. So, Mauricio, any more for 4A?
There's no more.
Okay, public hearing is closed. Ella, sorry, I'm trying to keep it moving tonight. Okay, public hearing's closed. Comments? I'll start with Jennifer this time
I
again.
have no comments.
No comments? Larissa?
I just have a comment because I was listening to what Felix was saying, and I also have to thank Renan and Danny and that whole group because they started a conversation, and like the mayor suggested, potentially it could be a downzoning. And people want to talk about that, and people need to understand what that means. And that invites you and everybody else to potentially have a moratorium on other areas of the city. But the conversation needs to happen. So the idea here is not to speed anything up and not to single anything out. It's to really start to look at what we are doing as a city going forward.
Alex? I'm good. Okay, Dana?
I disagree.
Okay. I think we both.
I think I've made my position very clear.
Norm, you have a surrogate,
No, I disagree. I actually agree with what Norman said. We got to go A, B, C. Fix the zoning code, fix the non-conforming buildings, get everything back on track. And I just don't see this moratorium as the solution. So I want to see real timelines about everything.
Okay, so again, we're closer than everybody realizes. I want to do all the things Dana wants to do. I just don't want to do it in that order, okay? I want to focus on the 6 buildings, get whatever comp plan change we need to get, codified and in the hopper, and then we can talk about the zoning code issue because frankly, like Larissa said, who knows where we're going to land? Dana's trying to land on something very quickly.
comply with the law.
I got the floor.
But it's a
I didn't
zoning.
interrupt you.
It's
I have the
illegal.
floor. I have the
It's
floor.
illegal what
I
we're
have the
doing.
floor. It's
It's
not
totally
illegal.
illegal.
It's
We're
not
gonna
illegal.
slap- we're gonna
I have
slap
the
with a
floor.
writ of
Dana,
mandamus.
Dana?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So that's the long and the short of it. So we're all basically saying the same thing. We're procedurally looking at it differently, but I can tell you the moratorium is the most conservative course of action for any outcome that we're talking about. It's the most conservative. So that's, and it frankly, it follows along all the feedback I got from the last meeting. So in the last meeting and then the follow-up emails. So again, okay, I need a motion to adopt. So we have a recommendation from the LPA declaring zoning in progress relating to the development and redevelopment of the Town Center District. I need a motion to adopt Resolution 4A.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, Mauricio? Oh, this is a reso.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Dana's opposed, for the record. Okay, that's it. So, thank you for coming, everyone.
Mayor, we still have the order of business, we still have that resolution.
No,
No, because it wasn't,
because,
it didn't make it through the
because it
LPA.
didn't make it through
Didn't make it through
LPA,
the
it doesn't get
It's-
considered.
It's not going to get considered. Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So
Dana, why don't you make the motion to adjourn? Come on.
What we're doing is illegal, and we need to legalize the
I didn't ask for you
zoning.
to- I
And
didn't ask you
that's
to
my,
editorialize.
and
I asked
that's
for the
my
motion to adjourn.
final,
Yeah,
that's my final comment.
There
This
you
is
go.
illegal, and we got to make it legal,
Okay,
fast.
great. Thanks, Dana.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
We are adjourned. Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for coming.